thank you so much for having us here today. I mean, it's truly an honor to be the initial panel kicking off such an important convening. And as Salome said, it's election day, and I think we could all agree that there's no better place to be than amongst others who really care about emotional health and well-being. So I'm joined here on the stage today by two extraordinary women, and the first one I'll introduce is Becky Pickle. She is CEO of the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation, a really wonderful partner of the Ad Council. She's a philanthropist, she's an entrepreneur, she's a true leader in making her community a better place, and we're very, very fortunate to be able to partner with her at the Ad Council to support work in this space and have this conversation today. And then what a thrill to have Lexi Brown, WNBA athlete, on the stage today. We're here to talk about, yeah, let's give her. When she said yes, I think I told her this morning she's part of this road show now, so I hope you have a wonderful experience. But truly, having someone of this stature who has really brought her voice to the forefront, using the power of sports and culture to really bring more attention to the importance of emotional health and well-being, is just extraordinary. Plus, a wonderful athlete, was part of the championship team at the Chicago Sky. I got it right this time, Chicago. But now plays for the LA Sparks, so we'll be cheering her on when she's ready to get back on the court. So with that, we're turning the conversation today to truly talk about how sports, athletes, and moments in culture can really bring more attention, break down stigma, break down barriers, and help people on a path to better emotional health and well-being. And at the Ad Council, for those of you who aren't familiar with us, we're a nonprofit organization. Our entire reason for existing on this planet is to use the power of marketing, communications, tech, entertainment to really address the most pressing social issues facing this country. And I just realized I did not advance the screen at all. The most important social issues facing this country, and make a meaningful and measurable impact by changing deep-seated attitudes and behaviors, driving action, and ultimately, in many cases, saving lives. And as Salome said, we all know why we're here today. We're in a moment where there's truly a mental health crisis in this country, but fortunately a lot of attention being brought to it. We know that from our own research, over 60% of adults say they actually struggle with their mental health or have a mental health condition, but less than half are seeking help. And we know that the statistics are even worse for our nation's youth, which is critically important to all of us. So the Ad Council, in partnership with others, including the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation and Institute, launched a new campaign under the framework of Love Your Mind. We have a large-scale mental health initiative. The goal is to really create a society that's more open and accepting when it comes to mental health, break down cultural barriers, address stigma head-on, but importantly, drive people to helpful resources and tools that are vetted by true experts in the field. And an important part of our collaboration is working with experts who can help us figure out, if we're going to use where we sit in this ecosystem, how can we really make a difference? And that's what we're here to talk about today. So segueing into why Lexi's on the stage today, we all recognize that sports, culture, athletes, trusted voices can really help move the needle. While there's lots of different messages that have to be designed to appeal to discrete audiences, there's something very unifying, something very emotional, something very influential about sports. It brings us together as a community, and trusted athletes and voices who are really role models and can really help others feel like someone else is going through what I'm going through and I can get help too. So in order to just frame up the conversation, I'm going to play a piece of film that was developed with 11 major sports leagues and organizations who realized that while everybody's off doing their own thing, wow, the power of the collective. If we can all get together, amplify each other's work, cut through the clutter, we can move the needle a lot faster. So let's take a look at that film.
Everyone has a ritual. That small thing to keep us focused. A habit we never skip, to clear our minds and elevate our performance. But what do you do to keep your head in the game? To drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health. Maybe you surround yourself with positivity. Or you need to center yourself. Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body. It's about taking care of your mind and mental health. Discover the resources you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Thank you. So I'm going to turn to Lexi, who has lent her voice to this issue out in public, lent her beautiful voice to the film that you just watched, as well as appearing in it. Talk to us a little bit about your journey and why it was important for you to get involved in this.
Yeah, I think being an athlete since I've been a little girl, I picked up a basketball at a very young age. Both of my parents played. My dad played professionally, so this sports thing has been in my life since I can remember. And I was blessed to have two parents that really valued mental health in our household. So I know that wasn't the case for everybody, but I knew I've always grown up with being able to prioritize my mental health every step of the way. And going through high school, college, I graduated college in 2018, and mental health still wasn't very, widely acknowledged or accepted in the sports space. But when I was at my first university, which was Maryland, we did have a sports psychologist. And unfortunately, I had a very poor experience with that sports psychologist. He was taking words from my sessions and telling our coaches, what we were talking about in our sessions. So at that point, I was kind of like, okay, clearly they're not taking this seriously. They're using this as a tactic, to control us in the college space. I was kind of done with that, type of help and support. It wasn't until the last 2 years that I've really tapped into my mental health and wellness, because last November I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. So, dealing with, a very stigmatized autoimmune disease, which I knew very little about. I really had to tap into my mental health and wellness, to get back onto the court. So when this opportunity presented itself, I had already been super vocal about my journey with Crohn's disease and helping a lot of people and having a lot of conversations with people who are also dealing with, autoimmune diseases. This, just stuck out to me. I was like, of course I want to do something like this, because people look at athletes and they see what we do on the court, but they also don't see all the work that we do off the court, physically and mentally. So this was something that resonated with me, and it's resonated with a lot of people. I've got a lot of messages about this ad that's been running, because my voice was in it, which was really amazing for me to be a part of. And I'm just grateful to be here, speaking to so many people that also value mental health and wellness in the world.
Thank you for that. Having a trusted voice like you, someone that others can look up to talk about the struggles you've had both with Crohn's and then its impact on your mental health, is truly making a difference. And I think part of the secret sauce around the partnerships like this is having the trusted voice married with the true clinical mental health expertise and commitment to making a difference. So Becky, talk a little bit about the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation and why this partnership was so important to you all.
Yeah, thank you, Heidi. At Huntsman Mental Health Foundation, we are striving to create a world where every individual's mental well-being is cherished and support is readily available. I think a lot of us in this room are working towards that. We see our investment in this great work at Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council are doing through Love Your Mind as critical to driving impact on the mental health crisis. As a service provider on the front lines, we also recognize how important it is to provide people with additional accessible opportunities to care for their mental health. And that's exactly what we're doing here with Love Your Mind. It's more than just a campaign, it is a service. Our efforts all drive to loveyourmindtoday.org, where everyone can access free, expert-vetted mental health tools. Our trauma-informed resources help to break the stigma around mental health while also equipping people with actionable practices and coping strategies to navigate their different emotions and life challenges. Tangible resources and assets are at the core of what we do. This fall, we actually also launched, very excited about this, our employer guide with our partner Canva, delivering a customizable resource for organizations to help bring awareness and resources directly into your workplace. We're so proud of these tools, Heidi. We really are so proud of this partnership. And we've been able to use experts to weigh in every step of the way. There's so much out there in this world of mental health care. And what makes our work with the Ad Council so compelling is how we've been able to marry best-in-culture storytelling with the expertise of a mental health service provider to deliver messages that truly resonate and cut through all the clutter and work. This sports partnership extends the reach of Love Your Mind so that more people are inspired to just take that step, like their favorite athletes and role models. For athletes and fans alike, we're still up against a stigma, and our research was loud and clear that this was a space that we really needed to be in. Through storytelling, we're able to tap into the power of sports to highlight real stories of real athletes who are prioritizing mental health, both on and off the field. This includes a full suite of assets and personal stories from the nation's top athletes like Lexi. We also have one from NFL star Cam Hayward, and we're really excited about you seeing how powerful some of these narratives can be. So we'll watch one of those now. Great.
I think the mental health aspect is more important than just the physical aspect. I definitely think there's been a stigma in the past because we're the gladiators on the field. We're the biggest guys in a room. We're not supposed to have feelings. We're not supposed to share what's going on in our personal lives. But I think that's always been something I've tried to address where I'm more than just a football player. I'm a person who cares. Mental health allows me to be a leader on the field, allows me to be a good teammate, it also allows me to be a good father and a good husband. We can get all jazzed up about how high you jump or how much you lift, but none of that works if you don't have the right mental health and the right people in your corner. And I think that's something you always got to strive for.
So again, bringing stories like this are really cutting through the clutter and making a difference. And what's very important to us is that we're able to measure the outcomes. We have very clear KPIs that we're holding ourselves accountable to, and we're seeing extraordinary results behind the Love Your Mind platform overall, and then it's really been accelerated by extending it into sports. We've had over 21 million views of the films that you just saw. We've had over $3 million in donated media. Overall, we've driven over 1 million people to loveyourmindtoday.org, which is available in both English and Spanish, organizes content by how you're feeling and the stuff you're going through in life. And then importantly, beyond the awareness and the scale, we're actually measuring shifts in key attitudes around mental health that we work very closely with Becky and her team on identifying. And we've seen a statistically significant difference among those who are aware of these ads in terms of prioritizing your mental health, because people who are struggling are pushing it down. You pushed it down and now you're coming forward. 71% versus 60% who haven't seen the ads. So again, these voices are making a difference. And Lexi, I'd love to hear from you what you believe the true power in your voice, other athletes' voices are in terms of impacting, and why we're hearing more from athletes today than we have in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I agree completely with what Cam said in his video about, there's this expectation of athletes of just exhibiting strength and being unbreakable and unshakable because of what we do and how we perform on the court or on the field. And I think now, some people might think it's a cop-out, but with like social media is a big example of, why a lot of these athletes are deciding to come forward and are deciding to prioritize their mental health because, you're constantly getting criticized in practice and games by your coaches. You're getting spoken to crazy by fans in the stands. You get into it with your teammates and stuff like that. Then you gotta go home, you open up your phone, and it's right in front of your face from complete strangers 24/7. And I'm a big believer of, just simply like log off or turn your phone off, but living under a rock is not the solution to drowning out that noise. Sometimes you just have to learn how to address it and cope with it. So, I think a lot of athletes have now come forward because we need to be humanized. And I think being able to use, mental health and wellness and how we are actively working at that as hard as we're working at our play is motivating other people to do the same, because it's not easy and it does take a lot of work and it does take a lot of time, and not everybody's going to support you in it, and that's okay, because once you find the people that do, it makes it really easy. For me, for example, I love Twitter. I don't know how you guys feel about Twitter, but I love Twitter. But during my basketball seasons, I delete it off my phone completely. I have to get rid of it. That's just one little thing that I do to prioritize my mental health during a season so I can perform on the court. But I think just having all these athletes come together in this ad was incredible. Like the first time I saw it, I personally almost started crying when I saw it, because I didn't know that my voice was going to be used for the entire spot. I thought it was just going to be visuals. So it meant a lot to me. This whole ad means a lot to me. And I hope to continue to do work with you guys moving forward, because this has a special place in my heart. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you're making a real difference. And I think just sharing your ritual and talking about, I sign off of Twitter, because for me, that's how I take care of myself. So that's really important. And Becky, we've talked a lot about having to design very specific content to reach certain audiences, which is important, but it also requires a lot of resources. What is it about sports that has been able to cut across demographics for us?
Yeah, well, you're right, Heidi. That cutting across demographics, that's a challenging thing, right? And there aren't many bodies of work that can do that, and sports is one of them. You think about sports, and it really does cut across every demographic. There are little girls and adults, and all kinds of different humans alike that look up to Lexi, look up to the incredible sport that she plays, and it's really important to be able to engage people from across all demographics. I think also something to consider is that the mental health crisis isn't a one-size-fits-all. It does not discriminate, right? And there are still stigma. There's still stigma in quite a few groups, and we've heard from athletes like Lexi, from coaches, that sports is a place where stigma is still prominent and really a challenge, and that's something that we need to cut through. So those are some of the reasons that we really wanted to invest with these leagues, with the ad council.
Yeah, and you bring up a very good point that, it's still there in sports. And when we talk about women and girls, the data's there that sports can really help emotional health and well-being. I think girls are 1.5 to 2.5 times less likely to experience a mental health disorder if they are participating in sports. Yet, on the other side, I think we were talking this morning that only 40% of women who are struggling with their mental health will reach out to their coach versus over half of men. Like, why do you think that is, and what more can we do, Lexi?
I think it's because, as we've come a long way as far as mental health, but I still feel like I agree with what everyone is saying about there's still a huge stigma on it. When you say, I'm struggling with my mental health, well, immediately, I'm sure someone's mind will go to a very crazy extreme, and that's not the case for everybody. So I personally love the term mental wellness over mental health. I've had a few teammates that have actually stepped away from the team, from the league completely because of their mental health. I was there watching them struggle through that and them not feeling like they had anywhere to go and anybody to talk to, so they just left. I've been there, I've been through that, I've seen it with my own eyes, and it's heartbreaking, because at that point you're just like, what could I have done as a teammate, as a friend, as a sister to help her get through that? And it's running rampant in women's sports, especially now with all these new eyes on women's sports, all these new critics, all these new opinions. It's something that we're simply not used to. And I've been seeing a lot of my friends deal with it this season in particular. With a lot of, negativity coming their way. A lot of positivity, though. So, I think we need to do a better job of focusing on the positive things, but that doesn't make the negativity go away. I just feel like more athletes, and, that's why I decided to talk so candidly about my struggles with Crohn's disease and my mental health is because a lot of people just think that those conversations can't be had. So, I put myself out there. I was actually very surprised at how much negativity I have received since I've been so open about my diagnosis and dealing with getting back on the court. But I've helped a lot of people who also struggle with mental health and Crohn's disease. So for me, that's what matters to me. I will get back on the court. I'm feeling amazing. It's been a long journey, and it's just starting, but I have an amazing support system, and I've really tapped in with my mental health and wellness, and I'm just really excited to get back on the court, do something that I love, and still carrying this message with me.
Well, we can't wait to see that happen for you and know that we're here for you as well. And just, I think for all of those who have been struggling, you've tapped on the shoulder to say, I'm here and I care, makes the world of difference. So thank you for that. And then Becky, I know that beyond what we're discussing here today, it's really good for business at the end of the day for mental health and wellness to be a top priority. Talk to me a little bit about your thoughts on that.
Yeah. I think we know a lot more than we ever have, and just investing in mental health in general is it's a good fiscal decision. I mean, we have a very good business case for investing in mental health. So some of the stats that I think are really powerful, mental illness is the leading cause of disability across the globe, not just in the US, but across the globe. Employees struggling with mental health challenges miss 4 times more work days than their peers who are not. Over half the workforce in the US lack access to mental health services still today. Mental health related absenteeism in the US economy, it costs us $47.5 billion in lost productivity each year. Full-time employment cuts depression rates by half compared to those who are unemployed or involuntarily part-time employed. Investing in a supportive culture around mental health means investing in success and health of our organizations and the people that make them great. So something really fun that we touched on briefly, but our Love Your Mind employer guide that the Ad Council and Huntsman Mental Health developed with our partner Canva, it's a great example of how employers can play an active role in driving impact around mental health. So this guide is free. You can access this on loveyourmindtoday.org. It's fully customizable. So if you're looking for something to bring into your workspace, not sure where to start, this is a great place to do that. This guide is complete with tools to spot signs of mental health challenges, connect employees to resources and care, and ultimately build a culture of mental well-being.
Thank you. And I think, again, businesses joining together, leagues, athletes joining together, everybody elevating it with the collective power we know can accelerate impact, which is what we really need at this moment. So I know we're going to be running out of time shortly, so I'd love for you to just share, what do you hope people take away today from this conversation about Love Your Mind?
I mean, there's a lot that can be said, but I think for me, and this is something that I've touched on, ever since I've been dealing with Crohn's disease, is be kind. Like, it's very simple, but you really have no idea what people are dealing with behind the scenes. People still have to show up, do their jobs, interact, but you have no idea what they're dealing with at home, with their loved ones, and just personally, people are going through a lot, and I've just learned. I mean, I've always been a very kind person. Let's not get that confused. I've always been kind, but I've been a little bit more empathetic towards people. Maybe if you don't get that kindness back, you first, instead of reciprocating with that same energy, just be like, oh, maybe they're just having a hard time today, and kill them with kindness. That's what I've always lived by. That's what my parents taught me. That's how I was raised. So it's a very simple word of advice, but it can go a long way.
100%. Thank you for that. And Becky?
Beautiful. Yeah, Heidi, I think what's really top of mind for me today is that we all have a responsibility in this space, and we are in crisis. That's very real. But if we all come together and bring our resources, bring our efforts, we really can move mountains. And mental health is in all of our homes, every one of our homes. And we always say at Huntsman Mental Health, what is your reason to invest in mental health? We have every reason. And so there are hundreds of reasons in this room, but if all of us are showing up and making an effort, we'll really move mountains. And just really excited about the work that the Ad Council is doing. Really appreciative, Lexi, of you, Heidi, of your team. It's been an incredible tool, and we're really excited about it's obviously still very new, but we're really excited about the years to come and what we can do with this. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Right back to you, Becky. I mean, the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation and Institute have been extraordinary partners. They brought tremendous resources, expertise, but importantly, personal partnership around this. And then Lexi, truly lending your voice in so many ways here on the stage for that beautiful piece of film that we know will continue to get a ton of play. We are forever grateful. And Salome, for having us on this stage this morning. I think it's incredibly inspiring to see so many people here today. And congratulations to you for just doubling, tripling, quadrupling this important conference and convening. And again, appreciate having this moment and hope you all have a good day and be here for each other. We know it's a long, tough, emotional day, but very inspired by what we're all here for at the end of the day. So have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you.